I'm Alan. I was Zorianna Kit, and today we review Cop Shop. It's got Frank Grillo and Gerard Butler in it. It's a crime thriller. This one is interesting. I should point out, you saw it at home. I saw it in theater, so I'm kind of interested in that dynamic. And I think I came away feeling like, okay, this is an okay mid-level crime thriller, one that takes place in a police station, and there's a lot of gunfighting and shooting, and people die left and right. I was just as much as I liked it, I was a little underwhelmed by it.
Okay, good. I'm glad you said that, because I sort of wanted to hear your thoughts on it first, because I definitely feel this is more of a guys genre type of movie. So I feel like automatically that whatever issues I have with the film may be simply because I'm not the target audience. But glad that you said those things, because I was underwhelmed. I'm a huge fan of Joe Carnahan. I love this guy.
We raved about Boss Level.
Yeah.
I mean, that's such a weird movie, but it was so good.
Yes, right? So let's talk about the positives here. Positives is that I love the fact that Joe Carnahan and Frank Grillo have a very long-standing relationship, and they have done so many films together, because there's nothing like a director feeling like he has his muse, and Carnahan tends to work a lot with the same actors. There's a lot that he kind of cycles through his stuff. So I think it's great. And, they work together on Boss Level. So they definitely have a rapport or chemistry or whatnot. So that's positive. The other positive thing is that the last act of the film is really where the exciting things lie. Because the rest, Alan, I thought was really slow.
Yeah.
Really boring. And I was just going like, okay, wait, listen, we have two action stars in here, Gerard Butler and Frank Grillo. We have an action guy who's famous for like cop shoot 'em up movies. And why is
and we have a potential action star in the making in this one.
Yes. The positives with Alexis. Alexis Louder. That is the name of our female. But I want to do a whole separate conversation on her, because that one is the film. But just, without us yet knowing that she was going to be the gem of this movie, the main base of this film is like two action stars, action director, and what is going on with Gore.
So here's where my issue, or where I think the problem of the movie lies. You mentioned it. It's two different movies. The second half of the movie is the action portion of it, the real action. And it's great. I love, just the cat and mouse type aspect of it, the hunt, the killings. This is stuff I'm very familiar with. But it's this first half that fell flat. And I think the reason was the first half of the movie sets up the plot, sets up the story, but what it really failed to do was set up each of the characters correctly. We have the police, we have the criminals, the good guys, the bad guys, heroes and villains, and I just felt like those weren't developed very well. So our sympathy for the hero were not built up well enough for me to really care about the people who survive or die in the action. And the villains were just kind of like, well, it's basically the shortcut of saying, these are villains, these are heroes. You like the heroes, you hate the villains. Now here's your story.
Well, yes, I agree with you, because none of the characters were developed well. And plus, we didn't even get a chance to care much about them, because most everyone, this isn't a spoiler, but we know who our three leads are. Most everyone else, we kind of lose somewhere along the way. So they're one-dimensional. We never learn anything about them. Therefore, we don't care about them when it's their turn to go. You don't.
In Star Trek speak, we call them red shirts.
There we go. Okay, so that's the term. Then they're red shirts.
Yeah.
And then when we have our three leads, no one is a clear protagonist. So when we're watching, we're not really sure who we're supposed to root for. Even our female protagonist isn't sure who's the good guy and who's the bad guy.
Well,
too.
I mean, I will say, clearly Valerie is the protagonist. She's the one we root for. But even then, as great as her performance was, it just, there's just that assumption of, here's your badass female cop. She's gonna survive this thing, maybe, and therefore our sympathies should go to her. They do, but we needed something more emotional to connect her with. We really don't get into her backstory. She's just presented as badass cop, and therefore we should sympathize with her, and that's just not enough.
Yeah, well, exactly. We don't know who she has on the outside waiting for her that makes us want for her to survive.
Yeah,
she has to get to someone or accomplish something or do something that, so none of that happens. But Alexis, this woman is the find of the movie. Like, you can talk about Frank Grillo and Gerard Butler and their action hero status and all their films where they like do what they do, but the real person who shines in this film that makes you go, oh my gosh, like, who is this person? I definitely want to see what they're going to do next. It is Alexis Louder. She is fantastic. She actually, in my opinion, steals the movie from the two boys that are the financial stars of the film. She's just fantastic. And the thing that excites me most about this movie is that you feel like you just watched someone that's really going places.
Yeah, I mean, she's the victim of bad storytelling at this point. It is great. I mean, she's got the action down. She knows how to use a gun. She uses it in good old Western fashion. She makes a critical mistake in the middle, which is amazing. But there's a moment, and this is not her, this is the story, where the reason we need to sympathize with her is revealed, but it's revealed maybe in the last 20 minutes of the movie, when it was like, well, maybe that should have been brought up earlier in the movie, and we'd have a little more connection with the character. This movie screamed of dragged across concrete for me. I don't know if you've seen that movie or not. But there's Jennifer Carpenter plays this semi-meaty role, and it just sets it up perfectly. She had a baby. She had postpartum depression. She needed to get back to work. So they set up this real sympathy for her. She goes to work and then gets killed. But it was like, all that is the tragic nature of that character. And it was just, this is something I just wanted in this whole movie of, why is Frank Grillo the character he is? Why is Gerard Butler's character the way he is? Why do they turn out the way they do at the end? And we just have nothing. So I'm repeating myself. It's just bad storytelling.
Well, the other, I have learned, Alan, through reviewing movies with you, that sometimes I just need to let certain things go and not get so hung up on the realism of something.
Yeah.
But, this police station that the movie takes place in is so beautiful, so ground, so huge, so high tech. And it's in the middle of nowhere. No one is close to it. So when everything is happening, no one can come help them. There is no backup. No one off the street can walk in. Who the heck builds a gigantic museum-like, gorgeous police station in the middle of the desert where you no one, nothing, even an ambulance can't get there on time?
Yeah, the movie takes place in Nevada, and that should be the answer to your question. It's not Vegas; it's more northern Nevada. But yeah, that once you realize it's in Nevada, then all the answers there are answered, or all the questions there are answered.
That was just like that frustrated me to no end, because that just there would be no way someone would spend that much money on a museum-like building to be isolated from everything else, particularly when you are that place's law enforcement. you should be in the middle of the hubbub, not like removed from it. So
now I will say, once the action started, I started liking it, and then the ending came. The very ending came, and I'm like, wow, that ending really fell flat. And so it's just a movie of missed potential. That's what I say. So I'm feeling like, you're not, you like the action, you like Alexis. I think that enough right there is gonna put you in the 6th category.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Right on. That's it. Those were the 2 things the movie had going for it, was that the final act finally made me perk up, and Alexis Louder is what made me continue to watch this, because I was very mesmerized by her. And I think because you also felt the same way as I did, I think you may have given it, actually, I think you may have even given it a 5.5, like 6 probably, but I think I may have liked it, interestingly enough, a little more than you did.
Yeah, I think I'll go back to your earlier comment. This is a action movie for males, and so I gave it a 7. I actually, and I will say, watching in the theater, to me it was fun enough. I would watch this again. I do like the performance. I just, this is one of those movies where I would start it halfway through the movie when I watch it again, because I did like that action, and the acting was good. But again, it's just a movie of lost potential. And if you like action, it's here. I would say if you go see Dragged Across Concrete. It's such a better movie, and it's done so much better as well. In terms of story and character development, and that's the go-to. So,
all right,
all right. So, what did you think of Cop Shop? It's in theaters now. We want to know. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment below, and with that, let's get out of here.